Have you ever just kind of looked out your window and let your mind wander? Wondered what things would look like if history zigged instead of zagged? Well, today we are diving headfirst into one of the biggest what ifs you can possibly imagine. We're taking a trip into a world where that big asteroid just missed, where the extinction event never happened, a world where humanity grew up right alongside titans. So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? What if dinosaurs were still around? But this isn't just about, a T-Rex stomping through Times Square. It's so much deeper. It's about how every single piece of our planet, our environment, our food chain, our society itself would be completely, fundamentally different. And to even start to wrap our heads around that, we've got to lay down some new ground rules. Right. To do this properly, we can't just drop a bunch of dinosaurs into 21st century New York and see what happens. No. We have to imagine a reality where they never left, a world that grew with them from the very start. So let's be super clear about this. This is not a Jurassic Park scenario. We're not talking about cloned theme park attractions getting loose. We're talking about a world where dinosaurs have had another 66 million years to evolve right there with us. They are a natural, fully integrated part of the environment, just like deer or bears are today, only, a lot bigger. Okay, so in this new world, you've really got two major groups you need to watch out for. On one side, you have your apex herbivores. Think of them as giant, walking bulldozers. They are the ecosystem engineers. They're literally shaping the world around them. And on the other side, you've got the apex carnivores. They're the population controllers, and their job is to make sure nothing, and I mean nothing, including us, ever gets too comfortable at the top of the food chain. So, we have our key players on the board. Now, let's really get into it. Let's see what happens when the game starts, because their presence wouldn't just change the ecosystem, it would completely rewrite it from page one. You know what I love about this is how it just completely shatters our idea of a food chain. Today, we think a lion or a pack of wolves is the top dog, right? The apex predator. Well, in this world, they're middle management at best. The whole idea of an apex predator gets a serious upgrade when a T-Rex is prowling the neighborhood. Everything from our wildlife to our livestock is living under a kind of pressure we can't even imagine. And it is not just the predators you have to worry about. The sheer scale of the plant eaters is, well, it's just staggering. A single Argentinosaurus needs to chow down on about 400 kilograms. That's almost half a ton of plants every single day. Can you imagine what a whole herd could do? We're not just talking about wiping out a forest. We're talking about a constant, high-stakes war over our global food supply. Farming would be an extreme sport. And this chart, wow, this really puts it all in perspective. This shows the new balance of power. The sheer weight, the biomass of these giant herbivores would absolutely dwarf everything else on land. Humans, who today basically dominate the planet's landmass with ourselves and our livestock, we'd be a much smaller slice of the pie. We would just be outmassed, plain and simple. So the natural world is completely turned on its head. It's almost unrecognizable. But what about us? How would human civilization even develop when we're no longer the biggest creatures on the block? How in the world would we build our cities, run our economies, and, just live? It really forces you to see the world differently, doesn't it? Just imagine a brachiosaurus casually munching on leaves from trees in a city park, its head level with the 10th floor of your office building. Or maybe a flock of little chicken-sized Compsognathus scattering like pigeons as you walk by. That's not a disaster movie scene. That would just be Tuesday. It would be totally normal. And of course, living with giants means you need a whole new rule book. Forget earthquake drills in school. Can you imagine T-Rex drills? This protocol here gives us a little taste. And you gotta love step 1, do not run. That little fun fact from paleontology about their vision being based on movement, yeah, that could literally be the thing that saves your life. And step 2 is so important. Seek reinforced shelter. Your average suburban home, it's not gonna do the trick against the 7-ton predator. Not at all. But this new reality would also create some incredible innovation. I mean, think about it. Veterinarians who specialize in setting a triceratops's broken horn, engineers designing biofences strong enough to actually redirect a migrating herd of sauropods, and the tourism. Safaris that would make what we have today look like a trip to a petting zoo. An entire new world of jobs, tech, and some really heavy ethical debates would just pop into existence.
All right, so this brings us to our final section, and honestly, maybe the most important part of this whole thought experiment. Beyond the new ecology, beyond the new tech, how would living with dinosaurs change the way we see ourselves and our place in the universe?
So here's the absolute heart of it. For our entire recorded history, humanity has pretty much operated under the assumption that we are the masters of this planet, that it's ours. But in a world where we could literally be prey, that entire assumption just crumbles to dust. Progress would no longer mean conquering nature. It would mean learning to live within it. We'd have to be a partner, not a ruler. We would be forced to be smarter, more humble, and a whole lot more aware of our surroundings. And that's the big thought I want to leave you with. We always defined our dominance by our intelligence, our tools, our ability to shape the world to our will. But what does all that really mean when you're faced with a creature that can knock down your walls without even trying? It really makes you ask the question, in a world of living dinosaurs, what does it truly mean to rule the world? Would we even be in charge at all?